I have recently been revamping all of my medieval armies, and I've got a big video covering all the changes coming out in just a few days from now. It's a really fun and long video, but today I just want to focus on one of those armies and talk about some of the lore and ideas that I've got for the faction. We'll of course be taking a look at the figures, but this is mostly going to be about their lore and some of the mocks that I want to build for them. So what is this mystery faction that we'll be looking at? Previously I've shown some different versions of my Green Dragon army, but I've never been 100% happy with them for one reason or another. So like many other armies in my collection, I recently decided to completely redo them. I've kept the same green and pearl dark gray aesthetics, but I've also incorporated some of the more natural looking elements like this tree branch that is also being used as a banner. And of course here we have the leader, who's got a very woodland elf looking torso. Obviously a perfect match for these guys is the new druid from the D&D CMF, so I've made this guy as one of the archers of the new faction. I think he looks quite nice and he fits right in with the more standard looking Dragon Knight archer. I don't know exactly what to name these guys yet as a faction, but if you remember in my original lore video, I mentioned that the many dragon factions of the land were in shambles and no longer at the peak of their power. So that made me think, wouldn't it make sense for one of those dragon factions to go into banditry? I mean, if their kingdom was fallen, I think it makes sense for them to want to enact some kind of revenge on those that took it from them. So with that, I'm thinking that these guys could be set in the forests near the Lion Kingdom. I'm imagining them attacking Lion Knight troops as they patrol the forest. Obviously, this is very similar to the classic Forestman and Wolfpack factions, but I'm just personally not a fan of how the Forestman minifigures look, so this is almost a way for me to incorporate that Forestman feel in a package that I find more visually appealing. The color scheme of these guys is similar, but more realistic and less cartoonish. I've got nothing against the cartoonish bright colors of the Forestman, but I definitely prefer the darker green of these dragons. So what mocks do I have in mind for these guys? Well, one that I really want to do is a ruined castle. I know it's pretty cliche at this point, but I've personally never done one before, so that's definitely on my list of upcoming mocks. I've just seen a few ruin mocks recently, and it's got me really wanting to make my own. I would love to make it autumn themed with orange and yellow leaves on the ground, but who knows. I think it'd be a really fun build to do. It's very different from what I normally build, and I think it'd just be a really good time. Other than castle ruins, I'm also thinking of making them a tavern or some kind of inn set within the forest. I'm picturing them being hired as guards by some weary innkeep. I could even have them going up against the Wolfpack as they try to raid the poor inn. I don't know, it's a fun thought, and it'd give me an excuse to make a mock for the Wolfpack, which I am always down for. So yeah, that's unfortunately all I've got for you today, but in a couple of days I'll release my big army update video with every single faction in their new and improved looks. Please let me know what you think about this new faction that I'm cooking up, and if you've got any ideas for it, please feel free to let me know in the comments. And as always, thank you so much for watching.